completely warped your internal clock. Right?
No, it completely has. I got a watch to help me stay on track, but yeah.
Safe to say that load management with Ben Bresnahan and Gavin Schoenwald has kind of been a priority lately.
Yeah, honestly, I think they've done more than I would even have expected them to do going into camp. They've gotten a lot of reps, and it's just, we've talked a lot about automated performance in our room, especially with our older guys, with the idea being like they've done it so much that I really want to get them to the point where they can just get the signal, they can identify the defense, they know what they're doing without even thinking. And that's what we're really striving for, especially with those two guys. Getting them more reps in practice is going to help them do that. So, I think it's a fine line. They're older guys, they know what they're doing, but they need to still get better and still train.
Is your depth chart at that position pretty much set, you think, at this point? More or less?
Yeah, I mean, it's always subject to change, but with the veterans that we have in the room, certainly we'll be leaning on those guys. But like I said, with Cole, arrows up on him too, so you can see him showing up at some point this season.
How much do you think in the return game? How much rotation do you think there will be once the game starts to get different, looks?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to not do a whole lot of rotation, so I think that'll tell you a lot once you start watching us play. If we're rotating guys in, that usually means that you're not solid on one guy. But we feel good about a couple of the guys that have been working back to Jaden McGowan, Will Shepard, Ray Davis, especially some with Will and Ray being older guys, bring a little maturity and experience back there. So we'll see what happens in game one, but we hopefully we'll pin down one guy for it.
A lot of first-year freshmen have been out there on special teams. Have an idea of how many may play for you on special teams?
Yeah, I mean that's with the new 4-game rule. I guess it's not new anymore, but it's been a couple years where the freshmen are allowed to play 4 games. You can be very strategic with that. So whether you play, maybe you have a freshman that you feel like can help you on special teams, but you don't necessarily want to burn his old red shirt, and you have 4 of them. Well, maybe you play 2 of them in the first 4 games, you play 1 in the middle 4, and you play the other 2 in the last 4. So there's a lot of moving parts with that, and then you're also looking at the offensive and defensive depth charts, and if maybe one of the freshmen is really pushing to start on one of the depth charts, then he's probably going to play a little bit more on special teams. Maybe if he's down on the depth chart, you're going to try to save his red shirt. So even though he might bring some value on teams, so there's a lot of moving parts, and it's Coach Lee and the whole staff and Barton's involved in that as well.
What's your philosophy on, say you've got a guy that is one of your frontline starters on offense or defense, but he's a really good special teams player. You run into an issue, you're getting the guy a lot of work. How do you balance that between having your best guy on the field and maybe resting that guy, settling for a little less to keep that other guy fresh?
I think it's unique to your roster. I mean, there were points last year where some of our best guys had to be on special teams, maybe because the roster was a little thin and the talent wasn't there. So you'd like to get to the point where your starters aren't playing a ton on special teams. Now, there'll be units like punt, which is a really important one for us, where a lot can go wrong. So you want to have some of your best guys there. So you'll see when we punt this year, you'll see some of the offensive and defensive starters on that unit. But, and then there's units like kickoff and punt return where just effort and grit can take you really far. And you don't necessarily have to be the starting defensive end or linebacker to be a really good kickoff guy. So
I think Will Ferris hit a 52-yarder
he did
in the scrimmage. How has he come along?
Yeah, he's coming along great. I'm excited about him. He started off a little slow during camp, but is really hitting a stride right now. He's challenging for the kickoff job right now, and is doing a nice job behind Joe as a place kicker right now. So I'm excited about his future, and he's done good.
Thanks.
I appreciate that, Steph.